atrium. So that the left atrium is connected to which type of blood vessels? As we see in the picture, is connected to the vein, pulmonary vein. What is the pulmonary vein? From its name, vein, so it brings the blood into the heart. And from the word pulmonary, as we said before, that everything related to pulmonary is related to the lung. So that pulmonary vein is the vein that brings the blood from the lungs. So that the left atrium is connected to the pulmonary vein. And let's see, the blood then will move to the aorta. Let's have a look at this aorta. It's large and big, so that from the name aorta, it's related to artery. Aorta is the blood vessel that is connected to the left ventricle. It's the largest blood vessel in our body. It's the largest artery in our body. In your opinion, why? Why the aorta is the largest artery in our body? Can you think for a bit? The answer will be is that the aorta is the artery that distributes the blood to all body organs, so that in order to have a high pressure, in order to pump large quantity of blood, the aorta will be large artery. Okay, so that the left part of the blood is connected to the pulmonary veins and to the aorta. What about the right part of the blood? Let's see the right atrium. The right atrium is connected to two veins, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. From the word vena, it is a vein. But what's the meaning of superior? What's the meaning of inferior? Superior, it means up. Inferior, it means down. So that superior vena cava is the vein that brings the blood from the upper part of the body. However, the inferior vena cava is the blood vessel that brings the blood from the lowest part or from the lower part of the body. Okay? What about the artery? Let's have a look at the right ventricle. The right ventricle is connected to the pulmonary artery. So the right ventricle is connected to an artery called pulmonary artery. Also from its name, pulmonary artery. Artery, it takes the blood away from the heart. Pulmonary related to the lung. So that pulmonary artery is the blood vessel that takes the blood away from the heart. So that we have four types of blood vessels that are connected to the heart. First of all, the left one is connected to the pulmonary vein and aorta. The right one is connected to the superior and inferior vena cava and pulmonary artery. So that these are the blood vessels that are responsible to take the blood into and away from the heart. Let's have a look here between the left auricle and left ventricle, right auricle and right ventricle. What do we have here? What is this white tissue that we see here? This is called valve. What is valve? Valve is a tissue that will closes in order to allow the blood to pass only in one direction. يعني how? For example, let's have a look here. If the blood will pass from the left auricle to the left ventricle, and this is open, do we have a pressure in order for the ventricle to push the blood outside? No. So the blood will remain moving upward toward the auricle, so that this is not good in order for the heart to pump the blood. So that once the blood moves from the auricle to the ventricle, directly the valve will close in order to allow the blood to be collected inside the ventricles. Now I have the pressure, now the blood can be pushed outside the blood. So that we have two valves between the auricles and ventricles, bicuspid and tricuspid valves. Why do we call them bi and what do we call them tri? Bi, it means two. It's made up of only two tissues. However, the tricuspid, from the word three, we have three from this tissue. Okay, how can I memorize them? I can memorize them try, right. So that in the right side I have try, right, tricuspid valve. The second one is the bicuspid valve. So that the function of the valve is to control the passage of blood, prevent the backflow of blood so that the blood will move only in one direction, so that it closes in order to prevent the blood from flowing back into the auricles. But let's see, we also have another type of valve. What is this type of valve? Let's have a look here. We have a valve called sigmoid valve. It's between what and what? It's between the ventricles and the arteries. So also we have valves between the ventricles and the arteries. What's the function of this valve? Also, it will close in order to prevent the backflow of blood, so that the valves are the tissues that will allow the blood to pass only in one direction. It prevents the backflow of blood, so that we should memorize these valves. It's easy. Remember, try, right, and the second one will be the bicuspid valve. The last one, sigmoid valve between the ventricles and the arteries. So let's continue more about the structure of this heart. Let's have a look at this picture. Are the left part of the heart, or is the left part of the heart connected to the right part of the heart? No, as we see, they are separated. By what they are separated? Let's have a look. They are separated by a septum. So that septum is the part of the heart that separates the left side from the right side. Why? Because the blood that is found in the left part cannot be mixed with the blood that is found in the right part of the heart. And in the second lessons we will know why these two bloods will not be mixed together. Okay, so that the septum is the part of the heart that separates the left part from the right part. Let's have a look at the right ventricle and the right ventricle and the left ventricle. What's the difference between them? Let's compare the wall of the left ventricle to that of the right ventricle. What do you observe? The right ventricle is thicker than the left ventricle. Why, in your opinion? Who can tell me why the left ventricle will be thicker than the right ventricle? Pause the video, think for a bit, then turn the video on and see what is the answer. I want to see if you will know the answer alone or not. The left ventricle is the part of the heart that is responsible to distribute the blood to all body parts, so that it should made up of more muscles in order to pump more and more blood, so that the left part will distribute the blood to all body parts, so that we need more pressure, we need more muscles, we need more contraction. However, the right one only distribute the blood to the lungs, so that only to one organ in our body, so that the wall will, it's not necessary to be thicker, it's not necessary to have more muscles. Okay, so that this is the difference between the right and left ventricle. But the heart also is an organ. Also, it needs oxygen and nutrients. Also, it needs the oxygen and the nutrients in order to pump, in order to contract. It's a muscle. So that who is responsible for delivery, for giving the heart the oxygen and the nutrients it needs in order to function properly. This is because of the blood vessels or the arteries that are found on the heart, as we see here. These arteries are called coronary arteries, so that the heart is like any organ. It needs oxygen and the nutrients. It takes the oxygen and the nutrients from the coronary arteries that deliver this oxygen and the nutrients to the heart. So that, my students, this is about the heart. This is all of the information that we want to know about the structure of the heart. Please memorize the picture in your book. I will send the page for you about all of the information. First of all, the four chambers of the heart: left auricle, left ventricle, right auricle, right ventricle, then the arteries and veins that are connected to the heart. Then I want from you to summarize the valves, then septum, and the coronary arteries, and also don't forget the myocardium, which is the muscle of the heart. I hope that you get the idea. Please watch the video very well. Pause the video once I ask you a question in order to think for the answer before you listen to the answer in the video. And I hope that you get the idea. Thank you.